another stream of the currently new thing. It's called my attention. Some more relaxing slipways. I've been busy setting up something to... Oh, that was a little bit slow there. So we can now play runs with quirks. So cute. Let's not look while we get a random one, because I've been clicking on it, sort of subconsciously looking for something I find interesting, which I'm going to go ahead and try to keep a record of what we're achieving here, in order to, well, just to see how good are things. So right now we're going to be playing with mining focus. Do I have that one yet? I don't. Of course I don't. Mining focus, it's called. What does that do? Probably like, yeah, minerals are worth 50. And apparently it's valued at 0. So these focus quirks are interesting. Some of them are distinctly better or worse than your average bonus, right? Considering the fact that a colossal empire is, I believe, worth 2,000. Mining focus would require us to mine 40 or more. Produce 40 or more ore, which is quite a lot of ore for an empire, right? Considering the average size is about 60 things and there are like 8 resources, and you may have like 5 or 6 resources per node, 400 over 8. I mean, you can get 40, right? But that's if everything is highly prosperous, which of course it won't be. It won't likely be half of that, which lends us to think that mining focus on average will probably be worse than just empire size. But of course I can't really tell until we get enough statistics. So I'm going to input that. Let's accept. Also get a random set of races. So this time we have the Ephorians, the Vittori, and the Bakar. And we're playing with luxury and miners. Okay. Luxury and miners it is. Let's see how things go. Hello there. Everyone's watching. We're launching. Let me drag this over here actually. Well, I mean, you can look up here. The difference will be fairly clear. Someone's asking me, well, what's the difference between the different levels of difficulty? It's mostly just the amount of money that you get, which means that on lower difficulties, different things will be good compared to on higher difficulties. There are quite a few games where the difficulty of the game does not impact how you should play, but in roguelikes it typically does, right? As in Slay the Spire, if you're playing on Ascension 1, you typically don't have to take every elite so aggressively. You typically don't have to take damage cards as aggressively in the early game. You can take a lot less risk, right? You can be a lot more secure. In Slipways, it's the other way around, where if you're playing on a higher difficulty, we gotta play a little bit less risky, because if you run out of money, you can't do anything, and then the time just ticks by and your score isn't increasing. So we found a swamp here. What was this thing again that we're looking at? We were looking at, yeah, beautiful sites, which is, if these are settled, you gain a little bit of a bonus. Now, in order to make up for the 5% penalty, we would have to settle estimating our end happiness at 150%. 5% of that would be 7.5, so 4 of them. We would have to settle with colonies. Unfortunately, here we have a swamp next to an arid, and the arid can only be a colony. Do we have any tech that might make a difference to that? No. So it's unlikely this will be a colony, because I don't like having a node that I don't use. It's maybe unlikely either of them get it. Actually, the swamp could be a colony with the remnant as a two-way trade. As a start. But then where would it get its food from? Because this is not edible. Nor is this. Lavas and ice balls. We do have geothermals for lava and minerals, so that's for much later. Let's see if I'm... Okay, this is looking a lot more promising here. You have an Arctic and a Primordial, which form a two-way trade to start with. No goods though, so no capability of going into a higher level. Our missions could be scouting, so I'm inclined to start. And then the swamp would be a food world. And then likely the arid would be the other colony for it. There's a colony here. We know here there's 2 opportunities to make either goods or ore or I'm not saying that, or robots for goods. Which is nice because it could also mean we could do people and we could do chips here to send back there, as well as robots send back there, because a bungle farm, wetland farm, takes both. This takes that. Can this reach? It can. Only just though, it's very expensive to make these left-right connections. So ideally I'd make like 1 or 2. If I do this, I have to make 1, 2, 3 of them, which is going to cost, you know, about 60, and then I have 91 cash. You know what? Let's just do this, because this is nearly guaranteed, and then look further. So, well, the smart idea would be to put the robot here, but maybe I want to see. But if I do see and I get the mission for the Picard to scout, it'll feel silly. You know, let's commit. So, you know, once you get to year 2, you get the missions. Well, it's just not just starting money, but just how much money you get per trade, right? Trade's worth 4 on tough. Trade income here is 4 or 3 because it's struggling. You get a -1 penalty. This one should be 3 as well because it's trading with the struggling. But as soon as I mean, we could just demonstrate. If I complete this loop like so, then this one has 8 trade income because it's trading 2 things, 2 humans away. This one should have 4. This one should have 4. And this one should have 4. If we're playing on, say, reasonable, the numbers would be 6 and 12, I believe. It's +1 for every step you go down from tough. Anyway, let's undo the whole thing because you need to look at your tasks before. Well, you don't need to, but it's a good idea to do this. To look at our tasks before we actually build anything. So, for example, because of a task like this, establish new trade routes. Sure, I would like to do that, and I'd like to, you know, be rewarded for what I'm intending to set up as well. This is a remnant, but we cannot tell whether or not it can be successful, because to be successful it needs water as well as a second output. We have 1 output for it. We can always build a lab for the second, but the water, not so sure. And ore producing, we don't have any, so we might lock this in. But why forcibly lock something like this in when we have to scan anyway in order to find the water in order to complete the mission? We have to complete missions in batches of 2, so I might as well... I mean, how much time does it take to set this stuff up? It's also kind of neat to know. May, June, what do I end up in? August. So I can throw out 4 or 5 scans without much problems. Without running out the clock in the year and having to spend additional upkeep. Because these are quite expensive to run at 3 per year. I'd like to make sure that it has some income. Okay, so... I mean, this is an ocean. Like, that's a source of water. Can this reach? It sure can, very expensively, but it sure can. Can this bot do anything else? It's very likely it will. Let's commit. 1 and 2 and 3. This asteroid is now also completely utilized, which is very nice. This one isn't. There's something to be said for utilizing this asteroid. Doing so might require doing a mechanized harvest instead of our plan of doing recycling operation, which would require, you know, another scavenger world. Although I could go colony here, then I'd abandon the art colony, and you know this connection is longer. So it depends on if there's water here. I mean, no, there's water here, but it's too far away for the right side. Maybe I'll just leave the right side alone a bit and see if we can't check out this left side, because that's where our target is for the mission. Wait, did that just change? It did. Fascinating. I never did this, like, you know, looking at the mission like so before, but apparently they can change. I thought I could just undo and look at the thing again because I know the information at that point, but it's not how it works. And you gotta just pick. Yeah, I used to just pick immediately, but you know, it should be better gameplay to look, find out what you've got, and then pick. Mistakes can be made. So this is very nice, actually. This forms a very closed system, as this would... it obstructs. It's still a nice system, though, because I can do Arctic into here, and then eventually 1, 2, 3, 4 biomass laboratory for 4 science. That's not shabby. Not shabby at all. The only thing is, where is the secondary bot going to come from? Or go? I mean, we'd be hoping to find a use for it, basically, essentially. So far we found zilch. I could do a farm here. Well, then we would have to find a colony. What are the chances we find any colony planet? I mean, they're fairly there, but we're also running out of cash. Yeah, use this asteroid up because it's efficiently used up. I'm not sure I want to pursue that angle. There's also the angle of doing this. Feeding water from the primordial instead. Using the ocean as a colony, sending a human in it. And then doing a two-way trade. And then the bot can go here for a farm. Which would require biomatter from there, but where are these getting the humans then from? Nowhere. I prefer the solution with the Arctic being the colony, I think. It's not something to be said for take it a little more slowly. A goods factory here. That would be quite nice. And then this cannot reach. Do we have extensions available for that? we do not have technology that increases the length of slipways. There is, tourism and deep drilling. Deep drilling being a very nice tech to get early on if you can get enough minerals going. The income increase is substantial and very cheap to get. Tourism, I haven't really seen something amazing. This would have been a good location for it if it were something other than a primordial. It has to be like an Earth-like jungle or ocean. Yeah, so one of these, for example. But this one isn't near a forge world, right? Tourism is good if you can get all three of its needs, which would be humans, robots, and the goods all near each other, which we do have the capability of doing around here, but no good target. Maybe this, but this can't reach, so that's no go. I could also, instead of researching the biomatter, research a robot, and in doing so complete the mission. That might be the way we do it. Either way, this will be a colony. And this will be a two-way trade. Getting our income back up to 15. Yeah, so not using this biomatter seems a bit iffy. I mean, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to use it up, so that precludes a lab per definition. August, have 5 more months, and that puts it as 17 income. Can we do any better than 17? Not easily. Yeah, that cuts. I was imagining that would cut in between. This option, of course, wouldn't, but it would be more expensive. The thing is, if I use this as a robot and I throw in, I get 2 robots. Where's the second one going to go? It could go in here, make goods. Again, but can't afford. I think the only way we can afford expanding this current network this year is this, with the money that's remaining, and we end up at 7. So this is important for the breakpoint of 8 planets. You try to hit that, ideally actually in October, so you start in January with 8 planets. Well, this is fine too. Okay-ish. So here's the problem, right? These bots, if I place a lab right now, it should complete my mission. Yeah. That's what I would imagine. Now, a little trick we could do is complete the Vittori mission second, because Vittori can give you missions that give you instructions to get X amount of science going, like 3 or 4 science going, which we would instantly complete, right, by doing it that way. So maybe swerve and pivot towards the Euphorian mission instead, which would be to get an ocean plant successful, which just needs an extra person, as well as send out water somewhere. I could send out a water here. No, after that gets a person as well. There's something also to be said for doing this. Well, that would take up almost our entire budget for the whole year, because it's such a long, expensive connection. You don't have to satisfy your plans straight away. You can just leave them struggling for a bit. Not too long. If you leave them for too long, you get hit by a permanent penalty. That's quite severe. But you can for a little bit, definitely. I might want to do another 2-way trade here. Just stack them up. That would preclude sending goods here, though. Not sure I'm too happy about that. Because this doesn't reach there even. If only I could swap the worlds, right? Do we have that tech, actually? We do. But it's a tier 3 tech, so we wouldn't have access to it for a very long time. I don't think I particularly like having my starting colony not have goods for that long. I think that would be a bit of a drain on income. Okay, so... yeah, this is the same thing, right? The ordering of this is sort of iffy. So if this is a robot, and this produces water here, then this is a colony. I mean, then that connection can't be made in the first place, even still. Right? This robot needs to, in any case, get its other robot from somewhere. Besides, I'm not helping the ocean with this whole setup here anyway. I'm just checking the information that's, you know, related to solving the other issues. Which I shouldn't be doing because there's not too much of a point to it. Although I could wait, right? I could wait this year out a bit and stock up on some money. Because we go down in income for a bit. Like the first year after you hit a breakpoint, 8, 16, 24, 32, etc. Your income goes down for a while. Notice that if you... ooh, look at that. 14 and 8, 22. Do we have 22? We have the ability to get 22, but it comes at a severe cost later, right? We borrow 6 and we have to pay back 24. I don't know if I like those terms. I think they're a bit too sharky for my tastes. So no thanks. Have a look, see if there's some... ooh, this is kind of dangerous. This has no source of food. I still believe I have to push it through though. Just for the mission. Only decent income. I'll be able to get the source of food from the other side. Yeah, this is not that good of a start because of all the long connections we're making. Making shorter connections like up here would be nicer. Even better if there were some asteroids around. There's one here. I don't really see a good way of building around it yet. Right, building around asteroids gives you a lot more wiggle room on top. Okay, let's go to 3405 then. So you have some money in the bank, which you can use to spam out a task complete. Never bad. Am I okay with this? We went down from 21 to 18. It's not as bad as it at first seemed. In fact, it's all right. It's not amazing. Okay, so this costs 2, but the income from delivering is 4, so this should end up with a positive 2. Let's have a look. Or minus 1, so positive 1. Right, again, the empire size makes it so that it becomes more and more difficult to expand further as you grow larger, basically. It becomes more and more an imperative to upgrade your existing stuff as you get bigger, rather than attempt to embiggen yourself further. Sort of the main problem with the Bakar actually is that they're designed to making a large empire, and that just doesn't work all that well. This will take a while. That's the problem, right? I mean, I don't have a 26 income. This is a rather large effect. 15 for 7. That's a very good trade when it comes to the efficiency of getting income in this game. But it's not groundbreaking enough for us to break free of our lack of funds. However, I do have the Vittori thing ready now, so I could build the lab. The unfortunate part is that we're now at 9 of 16. The best moment to build a lab is either just before your administration costs increase for the first time, so it's 7 if you've got a really strong start, or otherwise I'd recommend leaving it until about you know, until you have about close to 15 planets, really. As close as you can get, really, would be my advice for that. So we can do, this is another 16. They're very expensive. That's the problem here. If I wanted to do this connection, I'm precluding that one as well. Just feels kind of rough. I could do this, but again, that precludes. Well, no matter what, I need this remnant to be a bot. If I want to use this bot, if I want to complete the mission, I do. There's no other way of using the bot other than a laboratory. Could we use this bot instead and do some other laboratory? Well, potentially. This needs another human in that case, right? In order to make another green to go here. Which would need chips, which you can only really get from the Forge world. Which invalidates the whole reason for doing that in the first place. So no, you can't. Can't win, can't even break even. Okay, that... this asteroid is not in the best position. I mean, you can get 12 from it. I don't think I can pop this swamp really in a convincing way. It doesn't just cause me to waste it mostly. I want to do... So I want to just get the Forge World then. And then pop the asteroid. Which should get me enough funds to get me through. Maybe I should have taken the 6 here. I don't think it makes a big difference. So, I'll leave that because it's on its own and it's far away from everything else. This feels rough. Okay. Feels like a shaky start. Won't be a great score, but maybe we'll recover. Let's have a look. The Arid could... Yeah, I'm only getting 1 good in that case. But it's better than 0. So, how many can we make that are actually accepted? How do I get it to be accepted? I need this connection. That's expensive. It's 16. I need this. And then I guess you could do something like that. And hit the asteroid. And then start connecting, right? But then the problem is that you can't afford the thawing facility. Right, and I placed this because it only cost me 2 credits, but that would land me at 9 credits. Maybe these are important. In which case, right, let's try out what happens if I take this. Of course, in the previous years, I save on the time. Let's see if we can make it in 1 year, and otherwise it might have to be a double skip at 26 income, which feels really bad. Right, skipping is not ideally what you'd want to do, but sometimes on tough, you've got to make the harder decisions. This factory, exploit, then the correct order would be to do that. Gets me back up to 26 income. That might be it. We might have to take the loan shark's offer. Feels bad, but... Oh, and because we have so many robots used, I might be able to get the thing even before starting work on the lab. Like that. Getting the double, and then if I deliver a robot, it should make another one. So this should work. Wait, are you kidding me? Can I not? I have to do these connections because they're cheaper. I mean, it makes sense, right? But still, we managed to get all the things we need. So for now, this one's crying for being solved. Once it gets to 8%, you get the permanent penalty. So we have 3 more years to solve this. Excluding this one, of course, so effectively 2. Because we have essentially nothing left this year. I could scan with the remainder of my time. You can also look at, you know, what I want to do. I might want to make a breeding program here to send in more biomatter. If we can use the biomatter, I can always use it in primordial. Again, this looks okay in most respects. Am I going to feel having 37 instead of 40? Potentially. I might want to actually scan here to see if we... Oh, we got lucky. This is a source of food. It's not a very good one, but it'll delay, you know, the troubles essentially that we're having here. Okay, so now that we're at 37, let's finish the mission. Took us 9 years to get there, and now it wants 2 more. I mean, we got 1, right? But more importantly, I like to always do this mission because it gives you 80 credits. We can also have a look at the Bakar mission. This is not that hard, but I mean, it is a bit of a distraction. It'll probably take another 2 years to do the exploration and then start unlocking Bakar options, which Bakar also has a 60 credit mission too. Do I want the 2 remnant plants? So I mean, I'm going to get 1 for free essentially once I build the lab, and I do want to build the lab because I want to get my science going. So I guess I do. And then obviously I'm going to go for the Ephorian one. It's make 4 goods. We have currently like 0 plans on how to do that. Yes, very disappointing. I know. What are we at here? -6? We have another year. A full year, in fact, to do this in. So since the Vittori didn't give us any mission that requires us to do science, I mean, I have to accept it before connecting you in, though. Can I even afford to do so? 12. Am I literally 1 credit short? I am, and I can't because I clicked on the button, I can't undo. That's a bit weird, right? I already saw the missions, but I suppose. I guess we'll just have to wing it? Question mark. So at least get my successful planets in here. Right, but that... I mean, I can scan and try to find... Yeah, one that's a little closer to the planet. Would have made this work. Now I'm feeling even sillier. I mean, I can do that, but it doesn't do anything. I guess we'll just get hit by 5 upkeep. Yeah, I didn't want to get just a single point of science. I mean, if there was an asteroid and it wasn't small signal there, chances are it's an asteroid, and then you get 3 science instead of 1. But now we get 0. That's how it is. Okay, so now I can at least finish everything up. And we get 4 science this year. Okay, so what I can do here is I can just build a wetland farm, connect it up, and then just do nothing here. Just leave it. But again, because these plants here are very far apart, connecting them is very expensive. I might as well leave this for another 5 years, or you know, however long it takes before it gets to 7%, because there's no rush to connect it. I mean, I could. It's depending on how expensive it is, right? But it's still quite. This isn't too expensive actually. We're at 14. We'll be able to move to 15 plants, which would be exacxies essentially, with regards to effective things. And then we'd be able to get probably quantum sensors or orbital labs. Orbital labs is a very nice upgrade if you've got some extra humans laying around in various places. We don't in particular. This one was too long and we had no tech to make it shorter, or well, not make it shorter, but to allow for a longer slipway. There's also gene adjustment, which is always worth looking at if it's available, because it's just a straight up 14 cash a year, which is quite a bit in the early game. Although we're moving out of the early game, hopefully. This is 8, so it's too expensive. We're again 1 credit short. It's like forever being one credit short this run. Short by 1. Like I might have made a tiny mistake in the beginning that snowballed to being short 1 on every single decision. Kind of like there was a puzzle mode in this game where you just forever 1 move short of where your target. So let's just do this. Okay. So now, how does that change the income actually? 40 to 45 income? We spent at how much? 52 to 31. 21 for 5. Not the best deal. Could be worse. I think I'll take that deal. And then quantum sensors is next, which reveals a lot more information. You can kind of see how the map is shaped. Usually the most concentration of planets will be near the center. So we're moving quite far away here, so I'm not particularly intent on expanding in that direction. I mean, I'm more interested in what's over here. Our sensor range should be much bigger now too, so we should be able to get much more effective scans. Right. Like how many planets and signals did we just look at there? Like 8 or something like that? A significant number. Let's put it that way. So what do we have here? It's not... Again... There's no Forge World though, so there's no real way of getting goods in this area. I mean, you might get an event that gives you 2 goods, I believe. That would help. Oh, there's 2 places for orbital labs at this point. The next is maybe worth getting. No real location for Xeno tourism. Yeah, no. Looks a bit iffy, all of this. I could just look around until we find one of those Forge Worlds for now. At the same time, I'm not too keen on exploration, as Bakar can have exploration missions. So this is very cool. The Forge World here can make goods for things. Like this Arctic, for example, could accept a good. If it had any sort of support, right? This Arid could accept a good. Get water from this jungle, which can get its robot from here, which can get its person from... I didn't think that far through. But, you know, it's a start. Our chain is currently, by the way, we have no loose ends, so that's quite nice. We don't have to worry about checking up to see if some planet runs over. Now, there's a good argument to be had for setting up 2 more scans, which will save us, in the end, quite a bit of money. It'll cost 2 months, right? But it'll save us 10 credits, because it, you know, we don't have to pay the admin costs. If I go over now, if I do something like this, right, my income is 25. Well, if I were to scan twice or just build a couple slipways just to illustrate the idea of scanning twice, then my income is 45, which is, you know, more than 25. So try to utilize, you know, those 2 spare months most effectively would be the instruction. So I'm interested in looking around this Arctic. I've always been a fan of Arctic colonies. Is that enough support to make it work? No. This ocean's surrounded by like a bunch of minerals, so it could form a bunch of two-way trades. But it can't have food. At least not, you know, without using up that. That's something I don't want it to be. Okay, I could have one more thing. I think it's going to be here, even though it's not super efficient. Yeah, I figured I wouldn't really get any more additional information. Okay then, so let's start building. I guess I start building here. Right, our empire increased to established, which now takes us 2 per year. Also gives us some score. Now gain, well, I mean, not here, right? Because you got mining focus. So we get 0 points for our empire size because we don't have any mines. We're just not the mining type, apparently, currently. And we haven't really found a use for the minerals, really. Right? You'd want some ocean planets or some a good concentration of forge. Well, there's one here I could use, but again, it's a long connection. Yeah, what uses minerals, right? Forge worlds, ocean planets, farms and ocean planets as well, actually. That's about it, right? So, and usually labs is usually the answer, right? Usually get a surfeit of minerals. Because there's not a lot of things use minerals. Getting the minerals is the easy part. Using them, that's the hard part. So that is a given. I think this connection is also a given because it's just 3. I don't want to know what this is beforehand. So I can increase my income by 9. Or I can get 40 straight up. Tip and tricks. Do that at the end of the year. See which one you want. Typically, I would say if it's like... if the 9 is like 1/4 of your income, 1/5 of your income, it's okay. If it's any less than that though, like if our income is above, say, 60, 70-ish, I would not bother and I would pick the gather everything you can because that does scale with your cash, while the sell it off slowly option does not. So, for example, if we were like in the end game with a very good run with 200 income, then these ruins become incredibly strong, right? Because they become 200 cash, for example, which you can use to build very expensive things, like everted slipways, right? If you wanted to do that on normal mode, you can, right? But if you want to do everted slipways on tough, it doesn't really work. You don't have the money to support that. How do you ever do that on tough? Well, usually it's by using these warehouses and forebear ruins, trying to leave them until the end game. So ideally, you use your completed asteroids first, then you use your forebear ruin, and then you use incomplete asteroids. But ideally, of course, what way do you use your forebear? Typically depending on, you know, what the breakpoint is currently. Currently, it's not looking very good for the sell it off right now because we're at 16 out of 24. And of course, we prefer to be at around 23. I could set up a second laboratory that's going to tank my income even further. So I might be interested in the income just to sort of offset that a bit. Because this would probably want to be a breeding program. Because it's hard to get robots in. I might want to get a robot from there. I might get an ore. It's out of range. How do I get at this ore though? I guess we have to colonize this. Feels risky to just gamble on getting food. There are not many sources. These are all small, probably all nothing. So we're really looking for this particular node to be food. I mean, I could always take that as food, but that would make me unhappy, right? That'd be a catch-22 essentially, right? I need I need an ore for this forge world, for which I need a human, for which I need this ocean, and for this ocean I need a food, for which I need a bot, for which I need the forge world. Nah. I can't do that. It doesn't work. It goes in a circle. It's never a solution. I might just do this. What did that do for my income, actually? It didn't do all that much. See, like, we went from 33 to 37, right? And I invested... How much did I invest in that? 27 to get just 4 income, right? It becomes worse and worse as your empire becomes large, because each colony I found there now has an extra 2 in admin cost. So this thing costs only 5 to run. So it's only making me 1 credit now. Or yeah, not even that. It's losing me a credit, right? But this one's making me a credit net. It's also losing me credit. That might also be losing me a credit, actually. Its upkeep is 3. This one's gaining me 1 credit. So combined together, their effect is 0, and then the one person makes it the +4. Right, that's why it's 4, right? 4 is equal to 1 resource. Makes sense that they cancel out. But I mean that, you know, if we then added more biomass here, right, we have to pay for the swamp at 4 a year. So again, we're making no additional money. Then we're building the lab, which is going to cost 11 per year. So in the end, we end up at minus a lot. -3 for all of that, regards to income. So we end up sticking at around 30 income, which is not quite enough to continuously build. So I'm not sure that that is actually a decent idea. Like, I'm quite sure that it's not, that it's better to not build a laboratory right now and rather focus on doing these missions, because this is the best way of getting money right now. Unfortunately, those missions are being a little bit tough when, pardon the pun, when the planet types you want to find for them are not there. Now, why haven't we gone deep drilling yet? Because it doesn't do anything, right? Yeah, because it doesn't do anything, right? That's why I haven't picked it up. So orbital or forgot, same thing, right? Orbital labs could be a thing I just do. Just sit on my 37 income. Sort of just build an orbital lab here and here. Hope that we go into technology that'll fix things. I mean, sure, but I could also just pick up gene adjustments straight up, which is going to be a massive help. At this point, that might honestly do the most. So then, well, that was a whole lot of nothing we just found there. Have a check here. Okay. The primordial here looks like a good source of water to get you your water requirement. Also, I've just realized I can do this connection. I mean, I maybe shouldn't have done that immediately, because these only can host 3 bots, right? So it's not too much of a mistake not to do this. It's a mistake on income terms, but sometimes, right, you find that you scan and then, oh, I should have used the bots up here and have thrown in 2 into a planet that really doesn't need it. I mean, this Slipway we're just making for the income, right? We're spending, what, 13 to get 4 income? Seems like an okay-ish deal to me. So if I throw in a water, I will make 2 remnant planets successful, and I'll be able to get the Vittori tech, which will allow me to get gene adjustment a year early, which will actually make me around 20 credits. That sounds like a great idea. Like, orbital labs cost 20 each to build, so we're nowhere near being able to use that effectively. So let's just grab good old reliable gene adjustment. Again, we haven't found the genotourism or deep drilling locations really, so gene adjustment it is, and that should put us income as a nice round 60-ish. There's also an asteroid available, a decent location. There's also this one, which is actually completed. Will I be able to use this Forge World? Well, yeah, right. I'll be able to do a robot here, or an ore here, and then a robot there, and the robot can go into here. Unfortunately, I can't do another, well, I could, but there are diminishing returns, so can't do another robot lab. Would love to, but it's rather inefficient and ineffective. So what's this robot doing? Hanging out? Being depressed? Or is he being oppressed? Oh, I mean, no difference, right? Or perhaps he's being suppressed. You never know with those robots. Okay, I wanted to throw out another look here to see if there might be a better colony than trying to do a jungle colony. And there are no real good locations of chips visible, because being forced into using a forge world as chips. Actually, now I feel bad about skipping xenotourism, because look at what we found here, right? This, to me, looks like a good location to do xenotourism in. You've got yourself, you know, 4 planets that could be a xenotourist world in some configuration. You got yourself a forge world, although the forge world is tricky to access, isn't it? If I just as a test, have a look here. Oh no, it can be accessed. Okay, so this can be accessed from here. This can be accessed from a colony, let's say here. Then you've got yourself goods, you've got yourself humans, you can make blop, blop. You can make a xenotourism world here. And then you can send in another human to this direction, make another xenotourism world there. Later on, when you get, do we get hyperlanes? We don't, but we might get infraspace, in which case infraspace will be able to yield additional prosperous worlds in the late game very easily, because tourism worlds are easy to prosper. All you need to do is throw in 3 things. So I'm a bit miffed at not, you know, at having skipped the xenotourism, but again, you don't. This is the last place I checked, right? Of course it's there, but yeah, I mean, could it have been here? Not really, because this is kind of ill positioned. Yeah, feels bad. Also, I haven't taken the income yet, and look at what this has done, right? Now it's 74. In fact, we've made up this income, like more than that. It was 40 to start with 2 years ago. It's gone up by 34 because this scales based on your income. So when we're about to reduce in our income, we might want to take this nest egg, but not before that. I think I'll take this asteroid instead in order to continue building. Where do I want to build? I want to get the goods, so one of them is going to have to come from here. So it's sort of even, really. Sort of the same situation twice here. You've got an ocean planet that needs to be a colony with no real good way of getting food there. And yeah. However, this one has its mineral planets in such a positioning that it might be possible to put in a laboratory after the fact, of course. Yeah, so we end up being just shy of being able to actually force in anything. If I had that planet under my control, I would have been able to. What about on this side? Now it's 13, it's even more expensive. Like, you wouldn't think it is, but yeah, it's perspective. Perspective is being a bit coy. So I might actually want to go back on my decision and decide to take the 74 now. Again, like we get another 80 once this is gone. It's a bit of a shame that I can't really preserve it for the late game, but if I don't take it now, I'll have to skip another 1 or 2 years in mid game here, probably. And now we certainly have enough money to do, you know, all these things and maybe more. And then this asteroid, so if I go into January right now, we have to pay 3 extra credits. Might as well take the asteroid. I'm fairly certain I'll need it. Might want to take the orbital labs as well. The orbital labs will allow me to, again, use this money that I'm going to get. Oh yeah, we have some perk. Whenever we deliver ore, we gain 8 credits. We haven't really been able to use that to any good extent. But yeah, that makes this, you know, a fairly valid tactic, actually. Maybe should have been more aggressive in trying to pursue this, but at the same time, that can be extremely risky. So, yeah. Jungle farm it is. There's our functional colony. I want to desperately make goods, so I'm going to make goods. I'm blind, even though the food. Right, and then I could do another one here if I wanted to. I do, but it can wait a bit until it's actually ready, because what I want to do next, I mean, we would go over 24, right? Is the problem. We're in February though. We have the orbital labs available, which I can use to boost my science. Quite substantially, in fact. Right, from 4 to 7 is almost a doubling in how much we're generating. And then grab deep study, it will be another quite a bit of science. I mean, this does mean you can't do enlightenment, which is, you know, a planet no longer requires goods. Enlightenment might still be useful on this particular planet, but we could also say, you know, this is fairly close to this good over here, so with an infraway it might be the way you do it. Could very well be. I think I prefer making them out of ore whenever I can. We're now all the way up to large, so now we get hit by very hefty. We go from 76 income down to 49, just 26 and of 24 and a bit, right? 76, 56, 52, and then 3 extra upkeep for the Forge World. Is your upkeep 3 or 2? It's 1. Oh, the admin cost for the thing itself, of course, in the previous phase. That's what you have to pay. The existing 3 admin costs we're already at. And there's our 80, so, you know, our money is, you know, fairly stable. Our income is still low, so I could, you know, start building and continue building for maybe 2-3 years, but after that the money will run out. So the Bakar, unfortunately, is insisting on me exploring all the way in the middle of nowhere, so I just can't get to unlock his missions. Like, once you complete the tier 2 missions, they start giving you tier 3 missions, and those can be quite hard, right? Establish lab studying chips and get it to 6? Excuse me? Right? Excuse me, princess? You have any clue how hard that is? Like, I would need this to be a colony, this to be chips, this to be chips. That would still get me only, what, 3, 4. So I'd still need another chip world here. And our income is bad. And we already have, you know, opportunities galore for building labs. There are spare resources everywhere here, right? There's a water here, there's a water here, there's a person here, there's a person there. In fact, I don't know why I haven't done this yet. No, let's just ignore that. That one science that we just threw away, but yeah, no. So I guess we go for the... This might be a little annoying to do. We'll have to build specifically in this direction, even though the plants in here might just be awful or non-existent in the worst case scenario. We'll have to just deal with it, I suppose. The other option is to try to get an ocean planet to prosperous, which is the highest state a thing can be at. Now, this one is actually not far off. Right, in order to get to the final level, you need everything around it to become successful. Specifically 3 things, and you need a total of 6 imports and exports. Now, it's already generating enough water to make all those imports and exports. So if I just move the water here, move the water there, we're there in terms of in and exports. We're just not there in terms of successful neighbors, right? Because this can't be successful neighbor until we research specifically enlightenment, which might take a while because I prefer to go for deep study first for obvious reasons, right? Because you'd get more out of the deep study. And we now have the money to, you know, perhaps be a little greedy for a bit. There's also the option of just building an ore lab, but that might be too much to bear. Fairly certain that it's too much to bear, actually. There's something to be said for just doing this connection, actually, just straight up. I could just pipe in all the water, and we might do an ore lab here later. I'll preclude this lab, but to be entirely honest, I don't see myself building another lab. Like, I don't see myself going for 3 of the things, because I can't afford it, right? Labs increase in upkeep. 1 lab is 5, and 2 labs is, what, 14? Oh, it's less than it used to be, actually. It's 14, and 3 labs would be, what, 27? Yeah. So we'd go down to about 30 income. Of course, I'm not going to place 2 labs there, but you get the idea, right? It's not as bad as it seems at first, but, you know, all these connections into labs don't boost your income at all. So it's, you don't just have your income go down. It's that you're also missing the opportunity cost that you could have had. Like, if I go ahead and go in here, right, and I go ahead and go into this mineral world and just go and connect it up, right, like so, and so, then you'll see my income go up quite a bit, actually, from 54 to 68. In fact, I might just want to do that. It just needs an output for its minerals apart from the ocean planet. If it got that somehow, then do we have microforges? We don't, right? It's Silthid. Yeah, only Silthid has access to those. Do we have like a way to transform worlds into forge worlds? I think it's also only a Silthid tech. Yeah, Silthiders are really good at using the minerals, in fact. Kind of why I said, you know, we're not good at using minerals. We're good at generating them, but that no make the money. The money is made by using a thing. Now we're in October, so I could try to skip, but it would just be too costly in terms of time. I actually do like this setup. I've scaffolded here. I think this is fine. A fine start. So the main issue here is if you wanted to be prosperous for this mission, then I would need adjacent successfuls, which is completely lacking. It's like fine in regards to the imports again, right? Just like the other one. But there's no way of easily getting success. I mean, I could make you successful just by putting a lab in and putting a single ore in, I suppose. Same here, just like put in the person and you're going to be successful. That's not going to affect him though, because they're not neighbors. They're distant neighbors, but they're not direct neighbors. Only direct neighbors count. This would need a chip. I might also just look into that 4% world, or I might look into doing some two-way trades here for ore. Because that does give me money. And I just straight up get 8 credits for every time I do that. I might also just do that slowly, right? Like, there might not be any source of food around here, in which case I want to do it very slowly so that our thing gets like -6, -7, then we connect in the ocean, and then we let that, you know, tick down. And then we don't get hit by the biggest possible penalty if we gambled wrong. Or we'd have to, you know, build some really expensive construction. So, are geothermal plants any good at this point? I haven't really looked at it. Lava and mineral, there are quite a few of them around, but no easy way of getting microchips near them. I mean, there's one here, right, that could do it, but it can't really send its microchips anywhere else as well. Plus, the energy is not of particularly good use here. Like, energy would be great over here, right? But the thing is, why do we need the energy in the first place? Because we're missing microchips. Let that be the resource you need to start setting up energy. So, we have no... Yeah, geothermals is no-go. Starbirth, though, right, would be very good. There's a star here, a star here, a star there. There's one here, there's one here. There's one here, there's one there. Like, we have, like, the one there. Right, about 8 or 9 stars, potentially, that we could use to fix all our problems in the late game. So, yeah, this is a particularly good tech for us this run. So, yeah, it's just leave study, then. In order to get to those late game techs, we only have 9 years remaining, right? Our science is picking up, but in total we'd have about 80 science right now, which might just be enough to barely reach the final tech tier, but not enough to actually be able to pick anything from it. So I might need another lab in the end still. There's no robot. You're going to be unhappy, aren't you? Yeah, see, there's a robot here, but it can't cross the streams, or planets for that matter. Yeah, that's obstructed, so I couldn't have. I wanted to know, right? I mean, doesn't matter right now because we've already made the bad decision. We've already like confirmed it 3 years ago. Can't go back to it at this point, I believe. Yeah, I don't have any undo actions because I just scanned. This would have been, you know, nicer because it only requires biomatter, which you can get from here or here. Unfortunately, where the robot at is a good question that has no definitive easy answers. I could do this and there, but what's the point? I have 2 extra biomatter. I could make food here, but again, it was a major point. There isn't really any, save for just plain expansion. I'm gonna go ahead actually. Since this forge was over here, I can actually have a sneaky look here. Or maybe we should just not and just do that, which will allow me to have a much easier view of what's going on. Oh yeah, you can send some water down there, and that makes you have an extra ore. I think ore is the next resource I'll lab. Now the main question is, if I do it with this guy though, that's going to result in not being able to do a sun here. And I can do this one as well. But then I can't do the... yeah, then I can't do this connection. So it really depends on, you know, where's my food. So I gotta scan first. There's no real good way around it. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to have to be Arctic food. Yeah, it can't connect there. Yeah, it's going to have to be the Arctic food. So we have to get. Well, I mean, there's a star here as well potentially, which could do both of the goods needs. We're okay. We're okay with regards to stars here. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. Yeah. So let's actually use up this asteroid. And then potentially do a connection. Like, I'm trying to be efficient with, you know, regards to making money a bit. I have to destroy that asteroid anyway to do the thing I'm going to do. So there we go. Time for deep study, which is going to speed up our science a bit. Like, my earlier estimate wasn't factoring in deep study. Now I could more easily do that. We now have 99 science total. Well, ETA, right? Expected before the end of the game. We have 2 more techs from here, which is around, well, minimum of 37, maximum of around 80. We have 96 science, so again, like, we'll be able to, at this point, maybe get 1 tier 4 tech. Right, these are the money techs, right? Usually, right? Space-time aversion is probably not going to be the one, right? But it could be something like skill download or Starbirth, right? I already suggested, or perhaps even post-scarcity. And of course, relays into upgraded relays are also an option, but those are very expensive. That combined is a total of 101 science with no possibility of a discount from completing the mission before we get there. Of course, ideally, we actually do complete these missions because they give tech discounts. And of course, for Bakar's case, we're exploring down here just to unlock the basic stuff, really. So yeah, let's have at a lab. Now, I'd like to place it at this point, I think. It's gonna do, yeah. See, if I did this connection, I wouldn't be able to get 2 more science. I mean, I do give up on 8 money, but I prefer 2 science over 8 credits because I already have 240 credits, and science is being a little bit, you know, slow at this point. Our income is okay, although we're about to take a nosedive if we ever go into Vast, which would be at 33 planets. Usually, most runs on Tough end up being either just below or at the Vast mark, I find. Although this one's very likely going to go over, because it just, you know, it just can't manage to fix its edges. In fact, I might have to. That could potentially connect. If that's a robot, then I'm throwing away a bunch of happiness, so I need to check. Well, I should check. Unfortunately, the robot's here, and it's just like ever so slightly out of range. I could try to get a relay in between in order to fix that. That would mean getting another 2 years of science. Ooh, it'll exactly manage, right? So if we go ahead and take Slipstream Relay as our next tech, we would be able to get a robot from here. Or I have a better solution, a much simpler solution and a much cheaper solution than expensive relays and multiple connections. And that is the tech Flexible Fabrication, in fact. Just spotted it, right? There's a good available here. Flexible Fabrication transforms not only robots into goods, which is what it's mostly used for, it also transforms goods into robots. So I can use that to complete my loop. It's a very fancy way of doing things. In fact, I can use it here too. So there's 2 locations where this would be a good solution. And then, unfortunately for, Rabia, this would still require a relay. So we would need both in the end, but, you know, it's a nice thought. I think it's definitely a good pickup anyway, right? As one of our 2 techs to go for Flexible Fabrication. Other good options, Dimensional Anchoring is always strong. Slipways will start getting very expensive soon. Although they haven't increased in cost yet, so maybe it's not too big of a deal this run. So we're going kind of slow. Yeah, we have to go all the way over there. Which we don't have to actually found a planet there, but we have to like scooch over there. Look at all this mineral. Do we have drill bots? We do. Huh. So that's another tech that I would like to have at this point, right? Because drill bots will allow me to actually just connect all this up without having to worry about getting humans. Because, you know, those humans that need food and all that, I don't want to bother with that. Just let the machines do everything. Can't we just, So, if I'm intending on doing that, might I be convinced that since I want to do flexible fab first, it's not flounder on happiness. I suppose I want to flounder this happiness because there's no real way around that then. Could I be convinced to do, I mean, this connection? that one first, right? Because we just finished building this lab and now this ocean actually is our prosperous planet, which is nice because now the only thing we need to do is move over here. I mean, I could take a 3 happiness penalty. I might just want to do that. Right, just to be able to take drill bots. Because like it's 3 happiness, right? It's pretty significant. It's 3% score. I'm surrendering, but I have a feeling that if I don't complete my mission quickly, I'm actually surrendering more than 3% score, right? If I look at my score, yeah, like half of it's from missions. And I only have 47 mission points. Right? And each mission is what? 10 points or something? So if I leave this mission, go do other stuff in the galaxy, and then find out that I could have done 2 more missions, then I'm throwing away 1,500, like a very large fraction of the score probably. Right? Some 1/6 of the score I would estimate. So it's worth around 16 points of happiness, right? 16% of it. So we could flounder 5 things even just to look at to look at that earlier. It's funny how time is usually the biggest constraint, right? So yeah, in that case, what should we be doing at this point in time? Not this, that's for next year. Our money's good, so that's fine. Our science is, well, what are we looking at for science right now? 7 more years by 15 equals 105 plus 18. 123 science, question mark. Two of these techs, which were going to be these two, puts at 44 science, leaving us with 79 science for the endgame stuff. So we'll be able to take these two and then either 2 of these techs or a relay and 1 tech, or these 2 and relay and super. We can't take super relay. If we wanted to take relay, I don't think I want to do that though. I think I want to do either relay, Starbirth, or something else. Yeah, we don't quite have the science to make, you know, good progress. You would ideally try to end up at about 20 science, between 20 and 30 by 5 years ago, really. But we were kind of, you know, we kind of had a slow start. You probably noticed, right? And because of that, while we're going very nicely now, our science game will not be optimal. Far from it, in fact. So should I be taking this Enlightenment instead? No, there's a choice there to be made, but I think it's just no if we're gonna go Starbirth anyway. Although, right, if the only purpose of Starbirth is the Enlightenment solving, yeah, but the thing I was thinking is like, if I go enlightenment, I get the people now and I can use them in orbital lives. No, you can't, you doofus. If you use enlightenment on a planet, then that's a project and you can only have one project. So no, you can't. That don't work. That would be a goof. I haven't used... Okay, maybe I should get in one more laboratory. Right now it would still pay off with about... what? 1, 2, 3 science a turn for another 7 years. So it would still pay out about 20 science. If I build a lab for biomatter here. Would that be worth doing to get 20 science is the question. Can we do something with 20 science, really? Main problem, right? I suppose. There's other argument to be had is just to put a bot factory here to pop you up a tier. Then put drill bots here, which will form a two-way trade for minerals, which is going to make, you know, money. And then the water can go back there. This will pop successful. This will pop... I don't know. Just regular, I suppose. And this will be also just regular. Yeah. Seems better than it was. It'll probably be more over here, though. Considering there's no actions. Yeah, it'll take a while for the drill bots arrive. You could do another ore lab. Just like be like, yeah, diminishing returns. I mean, I don't care. I have so much ore that I can just still get like 7 science. That might be it. Over, you know, that. Because a lab right now would be, yeah. It would not just cost me 15 for the lab, but you know, we have to count 7 times what? 7 times 13 on top of that. So around 110 cash to get half of these technologies, right? So in order for that to be worth it, I need to get, you know, a benefit equal to 200 credits from one of these techs. I don't know if they're that good, really. It's a bit of a conundrum. If they're that good. I mean, using the biomatter is certainly going to help because it certainly does count as an export route in order to upgrade it. And I can upgrade it with the drill bot. It's just like, it just doesn't feel like it's super necessary in any sense of the word. We don't have add the resource tech. No. You know what? Let's just try this. This will also become successful, actually. I go up to 18 science. So now we're doing, what? 6 by 18 still? 90, 108 still, plus 36. 144. Yeah, 144 is comfortably going to get us 2 tier 2 techs, which is nicer. As well as, you know, the things we wanted here. So now we have the drill bots. I should be able to do a drill bot. And that should complete our task. Nice. And then we can look at what else we have available. This is going to push us over the 32. Where is this expert? Are you really going to do that every time? Make me go into the middle of nowhere? I don't want to establish a lab studying microchips. But, like, I could postpone the missions entirely, just not do them. That seems a bit... All right, Bakar, we're going 1,000 miles for you. Yeah, this explore mission can, if you get that a lot, you can just sort of It's just unlucky, I suppose. You want that. Oh yeah, we were gonna do flexible fabrication for you and for you. I don't have to not forget. Right now though, let's fix this. It's a very simple two-way trade, right? I mean, I could do chips here. To get, you know, additional things. Let's just do this other trade here. What am I doing with all these minerals? Look at them. Look how pretty they are. Put them in a cabinet. A collection of diamonds. Yeah, so even more drill bolts. Yeah. The thing with this area, right? You've got to have a use for the minerals. If there were more forge worlds here, right? There's one thing that Drillbots works really well with, which is there's a tech from Silthid, which is turn any plant into a forge world. If you've got that and freeze resistant bots and drill bolts, you can go to town, right? You can just start paving the entire galaxy in robots, which is a valid strategy. Unfortunately, we have no freeze-resistant bots. Actually, we have the tech available, right? Flexible fab. Give me a flexible fab, which gives me an extra robot here to send to there. I'll give you a flexible fab, which gives you a robot to send to there. Now, do we have any area with robots which could send goods somewhere? Yes, we do, which is this one. Let's do that. In fact, I could send it here immediately. Yeah, there's a thing available for you. That's fine. There's also one here. I could wait with that intentionally. A lot of the time in the endgame, you'll get quests to get a prosperous world. The Vittori can give you remnants. These can give you ocean. Bakar always gives you mineral based. For now though, just throwing away 30 credits mostly, right? You get 4 income for it, so that's not super helpful. When it comes to making money right now, income becomes less and less important. It's more about how much cash we have in the bank rather than how much we're making at the end of the year, because there's not many years left. That makes a lot of sense. So we're trying to, that's why saving the 4-bear ruin, right? We didn't manage to do that. I would have loved to have that 4-bear ruin. There's still a couple around, right? But they're hard to access. So I'd either have to build a colony to access them, which, doesn't feel great having to hook up an entire colony to the system, which takes a long time just to get access to a 4-bear ruin. I mean, I could do it here, right? With this jungle. But where the chip at, right? I mean, this connects, this connects, this connects. We do need to move into, not quite into that direction, right? If it wasn't the right direction, I would have done it, but... this doesn't... Hey, we got our first... Yeah, this perk that we have for the area. We found one beautiful sights planet, which we paved over. Right? I believe it was like... It was this one, right? Was this a wetland? This like jungle planet that had beautiful sights, and we just sort of turned it into something that's not as beautiful. So that was useless. So yeah, about this area over here. I guess we just found it, right? But we only get the happiness penalty if it's established, right? Does this work again? Successfully even. Oh wow, we need to give it goods for that to work. Yeah, I don't know about that. I think it's just going to be a minus 5% score penalty for us. Didn't really manage to find any plants that were any good locations for that. So we're still quite far away from the Bakar mission, but we're getting there. I could move up to September without too much of a fuss. Okay, that's not too terrible. In fact, I'd say that's pretty great. The ocean can supply you with a two-way trade. Should I be doing that immediately? I think I should. 46, 42, 40. Yeah, that does make me some money. I'm going to have to do that anyway. Right, this is built too early to ignore because it's going to still be at 5% penalty if I leave it. Like if I just leave it fallow, right? I mean, I could leave the last improvement for last, I suppose. Okay, so that's reachable, but this one isn't. Drill bots is an option, but I'd rather not. Because if I don't, and I get some food in, which is an Earth-like here, right? Then I could potentially get the 2% happiness bonus. Which is valid, right? We're still quite a bit off. Let's have a look. Do we have anything that can consume the ore? Does this get there? No. Do you get there? Yes, you do. We're in the middle of nowhere. Okay. So now that we build these 4 planets that I really don't want to have, this is why this particular Bakar quest is such a bother to deal with every time it shows up. I don't want this stuff. I want to get rid of it. I want to undo it all. But again, you want to do the missions, right? So our final mission probably is going to be this one. In general, we're probably looking to pick up either Starbirth or skill download. Skill download is really strong. It allows you to build more things in places. It combines really well together with post scarcity. Especially if you also happen to have a slipstream and this upgrade slipstream. But that's too much to ask for this run, right? That's 100 science here and then another 170, 186 science. We don't have that. Right, we're not even close. We're at 102 science, not 180 something. So that's just not going to work. I haven't found any... There is no way of getting food in both sides at the same time, of course. Of course there isn't. So I guess we'll be solving food one by one. There's no good... I might just get relays right now. Just in order to start relaying this stuff. I mean, I could do that. That makes 4 income. That makes a lot of sense just to do. But there are quite a few things here that I would like to relay. Because the distances here in the middle of nowhere are so great. Who would have thunk, right? Especially food, if we can get it from one place would be nice. I could make it here, but then that would probably mean like 1, 2, 3 relays, right? A double relay. That would be a very expensive connection. I'd factor in at around, $120 just to connect this around this corner. Maybe we leave it open. Yeah, maybe we leave it open right now, because I could potentially make food here and then connect it in. Do a two-way here, do a thing there, connect the food in. You need to have another... and just 2 relays. I mean, it's still going to be about as expensive. I don't think you can stop it from being super expensive, no matter what you try. I could make the food here as well, but where the robot at? Ooh. Now I like that. That's going to change some things. In fact, it's going to significantly improve our situation. I was hoping that I might find a 4-bar rune. I was like, hey, there's a lot of small signals here. Maybe I'll find a 4-bar rune if I scan here. Would you look at that? There just happened to be one there. So if I scan further, might I also find... I mean, I could make goods here, right? If I make goods here, I can use flexible fab to make a robot. Which that robot could then go around this corner and in here. Make the food go... Bit convoluted that. Don't particularly like that idea. There's nothing that's particularly amazing here, unfortunately. It's all going to be a bit meh. No matter how we solve it. No matter what, probably the next tech is going to be relays. And I do observe a breakpoint here, because we're going to be 1 science short for relays. And these 4-bar runes, I do give exactly 2 points of science. So that's a neat little trick we could do. Of course, that would mean forcing this Earth-like to be the aggro world. You know what? Let's just go with that. It's the simplest plan. It might not be the best. So we got ourselves a bot. Wait, we got ourselves a bot. Perfect. Give me that ball. Done. Okay. Big problem has been solved there. So I can just... I guess build a very long, very expensive slipway for that, but it could just also just be like, yeah, you're just going to be unhappy. Deal with it. I might want to make you successful actually, because I get a double happiness bonus for it. How many points do we have? 39 exact. Okay, that's perfect. We don't get hit by, you know, massive. Alright. So that's that done. Now the question becomes, what next? Glad you asked. Next up might be Starbirth. In fact, can we get that in time? No, we can't for you. Oh, you're gonna get hit by the -8, I suppose. Because we're 1 month short, right? Let me just exploit an asteroid for now, so we get to the Starbirth. And the Starbirth will also do this quest. Right, in like many places. Like, I was in particular looking for this one, become a star. Where's my Starbirth? Here's that. So we get, maybe we also might manage to get energy-driven industry. I can get another like 4 science out of this. Is that any good? 52 science. We need 59 science, right? In order to be able to get relays plus industry. I might not even get relays though. That's a thing. Might not even need them. Right, I could just get skill up facilities and I mean just connect things directly. There's only direct connections, right? It's not needed per se that you have... Oh, this one's an export route. This desperately wants an export route. I really need to give it one because it's holding up a lot of other planets. It's in like this critical juncture. It's in this critical position where it's blocking a lot of other things. It's hemming things in, essentially. Same with you, in fact. Although you have this connection that could be made. Although it's out of range, so we do want relays. There's like lots of places where that's very good. In any case, though, I think that just doing this should complete the mission, question mark? Yeah, task complete, okay. Invent 3 technologies. We just realized that we can at most get 2, so that's not gonna work. Get an ore planet to prosperous, though, that might just go. Right, that one in particular is in this spot where... What about this one here? Right, you just need some happy friends. And, you know, here's one happy friend for you. And then, you know, here's a second. And that's, you know, that's multiple friends, 2 friends. That counts. Yeah, that counts, that'll work. So, I'll take this, in fact. And we'll get another tech discount as well. I don't think I can make 6 more goods. I mean, I could potentially make 6 more goods in 2 years, but then that'd be all I do. And I don't want to be making goods, right? I want to try to make as many planets as possible prosperous, right? Because now we're in the end game, we're trying to get this score up high. And we don't do that by having 24 established things. We do it by having as many of those prosperous things as we can possibly have. Which now that we're finally getting, you know, the science in the late game, that should be the thing focused on. Almost exclusively, really. Yeah. We even have that available. We're gonna have lots of these little stars. Yoink. There we go. Now, this just needs another import or export. Can it send it somewhere anywhere? It can't. So just have another. I have another energy. There you go. Simple and effective. Like energy-driven industry might just give us a ton of resources to work with, which might be a lot of fun if we had the time and the money to send them into various places. Right? That could enable post-scarcity, but can't research that. Oh, I shouldn't have done. I can still do it actually, but with this one, I forgot to accept the mission. I should have done that. But we still get this one, right? Just give it an import. Done. Yeah, I could have done this one as part of this mission. And now this mission's kind of impossible. Although I doubt that I would have been able to do this one either way, so I'd have probably declined anyway. Still though, gotta pay attention to actually completing the missions. So I just want to try to not be bound to doing particular planets right now. Just try to do as good a job as we can, as cheaply as possible. Look, there's another prosperous. You have no trading partners. You also want trading partners, in fact. What? Oh, you need to send a human somewhere. Oh, I should have done this ages ago. It's just a very simple, very cheap connection that I'm laying on the table all the time. Yeah, but the problem with this is this world is taking in energy, so it can't take in a good. Right, it's one of those things with the basic things of energy, right? Doing something like this. It works, right? But you can't then also take in goods. So we gotta do something different. We gotta like send a person somewhere. Okay, now this one's prosperous. Gotta try to make more things prosper. You just need more inputs, right, to get you to successful, which will then help the others become prosperous. So I can take an energy as one of these inputs. Now you're successful. If I did this, I would be walling this one off. Well, not entirely, right? We would be able to go back under it to go down here. I want to do that because it's just a can't afford. Okay, good. So we can exactly manage to get a slipstream around here. The reason why I love doing that is because if I connect this to that, it's very likely that both of them will pop prosperous at the same time, because this one needs one more export, this one needs one more import or export, and this is a two-way trade. Right? So ideally I just go straight through here, right? But that would cut off this connection. Which am I happy cutting that off, actually? I might be happy cutting that off and just doing a straight line. Because it's out of range, right? But you just put a relay in the middle. It's a much cheaper solution, more importantly. And maybe I can get you happy in some way. Shape or form, perhaps. Maybe not, though. This one is just unusable, isn't it? Maybe I could make you happy? No. Yeah, so there's a rub, right? I can't really do anything other than send it here. I could try making you happy. How's that even going to work, though? Because the human is already being sent from here. Like, I can't just send in a thing and then be like, oh, you know, you're good now, right? Nope. It wants another. Oh, it wants another trading partner. Yeah. It just doesn't have the trading partners. And you don't have any more people available to trade. And even if you went for prosperous, you would not gain more people. Right? Yeah. So that just doesn't do anything. Then this connection also doesn't help, because it needs an export route. This one did help though, so that's fine. What about you? Oh, just more export routes? This just needs an import route? Yeah, this route will also pop two things. So I definitely would want to be making that in the final year. And then there's this thing. Let's try to pick up good, valuable asteroids as well. Right, because we're in 3424. 3425 is the last year, so try to be effective with our time, right? We only have the last year where we can use relays this run. So I want to try to do so. There is... Okay. I have 152 for the last year. Hopefully more than that, if that has any money in it. It's minus 6%. It's not ideal. I could just connect it, throw in a star for the food, right? That might be what's going to have to be done. In fact, I have a sneaking suspicion. Our score is 12,000. So 1% is basically 100 points. So this is throwing away 7%, 700 points. That's equivalent to like 2 prosperous planets, in fact. Keeping this unhappy. I should, in fact, do this. And that'll bring me into the new year immediately, too. Man, that has 6 upkeep. Is there any way to do this better? Wait, hold on a second. Can I go one back? What did I just undo? Where's the redo button sometimes, right? I jumped somewhere. I was like, wait, what did I just undo? Huh? Right, this one. Right, we're in July. It should give me enough time to do this stuff. Yeah, that's better. Because... Oh, we did some, that's what we did. We did some of these asteroids. We're not exactly 0 monies, but we do have this... Oh, wait. It puts it at Colossal. So it's actually better not to do that. Funky how that works sometimes. Same with that, in fact. It's better to do what we did before. Right, get to October and then do that so we maximize the time available to us while still not getting hit by the massive penalty of 40 credits for going into colossal size. Okay. Is this any helpful at all? Yeah, it pops it into one higher, but I'm more interested in seeing can we get something out of these relays, because there was a thing here where something could be relayed. Now, you want an export route. That's just not going to happen. We're just going to go plow straight through here. Try to minimize. Yeah, that... Look at our score, right? We went from 12,585 to 13,380, right? That was 800 points right there with one relay. That's a good relay. Are there any other such amazing works of wonder? There might be one here that could be good. Let's see how much this gained us. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's definitely worth it. We popped. We got 2 prosperous planets and a successful out of that because of, you know, chain reactions. If this one planet getting successful, it was enough to get 2 prosperouses here and there because they were both looking for more adjacent successful planets. Like once you start getting prosperous on planets, it chains quite quickly, and if you have a well-connected network, then they'll all go at the same time, essentially. We only have 21 cash left, so maybe we can do one more thing, but that would be about it. So let's make it count, I guess. So this one can never really become prosperous because it just doesn't have enough neighbors for it to work. This one could potentially, right? It has the neighbors, but it just doesn't have a good location to export its ore to, so no. There's this one. I guess it's happy, right? We're basically undoing the unemployment on it, really. It's not amazing. We have this connection we could do. Oh, we can't afford it. I mean, we could throw away an asteroid and afford it, I suppose. But that's true of other things, right? There are various places where we can still add in an energy. In particular, here is interesting. If I give you an energy, will you pop? And will that be more points than the alternative? It won't, because we will not be able to control the energy. Right? If you make an energy, you have to do that before December. You can't do that, so we can't actually finish with our last move being something with energy. So instead, what we should be doing is we should leave this disconnected. do the energy. Check our score, see if this is reasonably valuable. I mean, it just pops as successful. I was expecting more, but I guess not, because it just, yeah, it doesn't have a third neighbor. So that's okay, but, you know, they're better locations. Right, like this one, who wants import routes. Right, and then we can do this, for example. We can't do that because we can't afford that. Besides, we need to be able to still afford that, so we need to still be able to afford 6, so we can only really do 1 connection with the star. So it doesn't even matter where we connect it. It really doesn't, does it? And then that ends it. Let's have a look how much we actually end up with. 14,729. Yeah, it's not a great score, but it was a rough run, and I think it's surprisingly good for how it turned out. So that was 14,729. I'm gonna be taking a quick break, and then maybe in about 15 minutes, I'm gonna get some food. I'm gonna be back with some more Slipways afterwards. I'll do another one of these runs. Explained runs. There's a lot of intricate little strategy involved. I still keep discovering new things. I really like this game. Okay. So see you soon.